What is going on, guys? Welcome back to my channel. This is Leo's Nerd Talk, and today we're going to be going over Avatar Fire and Ash. So let's get into that. Hi, my name is Leo. If you guys like talking about movie, TV show, video game related, or just anything nerdy, you are in the right place. And like I said, today we're talking about Avatar Fire and Ash. So without further ado, let's get into the review. Now, I know this review might offend a lot of people. I might get a lot of hate for this, but I'm not really the biggest Avatar fan. I don't think this franchise is really that spectacular or that great. It's all very just okay. They're all good movies. They're all beautifully done movies. Great, very great visuals and great directing, great shots. Everything that would make a great movie, these movies have. I cannot deny that. But I just don't really care too much about the story. And that is where my biggest gripe is with most of these movies. But with that being said, let's go ahead and just go straight into my pros and cons. I'll give you guys all my thoughts of what I think about this film. So start with my pros. I kind of already mentioned it, but of course it's the visuals. These movies are absolutely beautiful, great visuals, great cinematography, great directing. But yeah, the world of Pandora is absolutely amazing. Just great landscapes, vast greenery, and amazing water locations, great creature designs, the ship designs, everything that again you want in these type of movies. It's absolutely beautiful. Seeing this movie in IMAX or Dolby makes the experience so much more amazing. Now, unfortunately, this one was in 3D, and that's pretty much all the showings were, which we'll get into that in the cons. But as a whole, this is a very beautifully done movie. Great directing, great shot choices. You have a universe or a world that feels lived in. This doesn't really feel like you just have like a tribe here and we're focused on this little tribe and the rest of the world kind of feels like it's empty. For some reason, the way the characters are, the way the characters react, the way the world reacts with each other, it just feels so lived in. It feels like such a vast filled universe, a universe that you actually really like being in and exploring more of. So I think James Cameron did a fantastic job of building this universe and making it feel so vast and making you interested in the universe itself, making you interested in this particular world and the Na'vi people and the creatures and the implications of this world or how their culture works, how their anatomy works and stuff like that. It's just a very interesting world that he created, a very interesting, alien life form that he created. And that kind of just, for me, that's kind of what brings me back to these movies, is just wanting to be more into this world, wanting to invest myself more into the world. Even though I'm not the biggest fan of the stories, I do just like being a part of this universe because, again, like I said, it just feels very lived in. It feels very vast, very beautiful, amazing landscapes, amazing creature designs. All the different tribes and how they navigate the world, where you have either like the air, the air tribe or the fire tribe or the water tribe. Sounds like Avatar: The Last Airbender, but it is very nice to be in this world. And I think, throughout these three movies, James Cameron has built a wonderful universe. That I really enjoyed in this movie was the action sequences. You had really great action sequences in here, especially with like those like dragon creatures that they ride around and the fire and all the explosions and the spaceships and the hand-to-hand combat. But mainly really the air action sequences, especially when you have like this moment where the air tribe is trying to transport a couple of Na'vi people to a different location, and they get overrun by the fire tribe, and you just have all these different creatures just flying around with bow and arrows and guns and flames and explosions and hand-to-hand combat on top of these big giant like air balloon type things. Amazingly shot. Felt like you're in a video game. It felt like you're controlling one of the Na'vi people in a video game. It was extremely epic. That's kind of what would wake me back up when we're watching the movie, is when these action sequences started hitting, because they hit hard, and especially with the visuals, they are beautifully shot, amazing to watch. Great action. I think this movie probably has the best action out of the three, so I cannot knock this one down because the action was absolutely amazing. But overall, I had a good time. It's not terrible. It's a fun movie. It's interesting. 3 hours is a very long time. 350 minutes is even longer time. And especially watching it pretty much at a midnight screening, it's very hard to kind of stay awake through it. So I don't want to fully, gripe that I couldn't stay awake through all, like I kept like dozing off from the movie being boring. It's more so probably because of the time, but I do think the movie was a little boring. But overall, I think I had a good time with it. Not a terrible experience. Not I don't regret watching the Avatar movie. I think I would continue. I'm going to continue watching these movies because I want to see how James Cameron, uh, you know, you know, caps this off with the story. I want to see what his vision is. What is his idea? What is he leading us to? I think that's gonna be very interesting. I had a good time with it. I'm invested in the franchise because of James Cameron and the name that he brings and how big these movies are. I want to see what kind of what finishes off this entire franchise, but it's not really a franchise for me. I just think it's okay and it's a good time. I like it. Very great visuals, great action, and for me, that's kind of all about it for now. But with that being said, let's go ahead and get into my cons. And again, it's really just a story. I don't think there's much substance to this. You have a story that feels almost identical to Way of Water. And this movie takes place almost immediately after Way of Water. So it can see why it would feel that way, where it feels super similar to Way of Water, but I think it just feels too similar. A movie can take place literally right after the previous movie and still have its own story, its own premise, its own lore building, feel different. For example, let's take the John Wick movies. When you go from John Wick 2 to 3, those movies take place immediately after each other. And yes, that whole movie is basically the same thing. You see Keanu Reeves, John Wick shooting people and trying to survive, but they build upon the world, they build upon the universe. There's different lore, there's more things going on. The story doesn't feel exactly the same. It feels similar, but it's not a straight up cookie cutter type of film. Where this Avatar movie, especially from Way of Water to Fire Ash, definitely felt cookie cutter, where you have the humans wanting to colonize Pandora, take over Pandora, and then you have the Navi wanting to defend their planet. That's all that's happening. And then you have the Fire Lady, I can't remember her name, but the one that's kind of in control of the Fire Tribe. She wants to just destroy this kind of ancient area where you can tap in and connect with some of your loved ones that have passed away, because she felt like the god never really invested herself in them, and she felt like she was never appreciated by the gods or whatever. And her introduction into this movie really didn't serve a purpose besides her kind of trying to help destroy like the Water Tribe, and that's about it. There's not really much going on with her character. I didn't find her character really all that interesting. And there was a couple times where I dozed off. It was really late at night. I was a little tired. But there's one where I woke up, from like having my eyes closed. I woke up and a scene was happening when they were on a ship. The ship was sinking in the water. The ship was on fire, and there was two people fighting. And for a second, I swear I thought Way of Water was on, because that exact same sequence happens in Way of Water the exact same way. There's a ship sinking, they're fighting on top of it, the ship's on fire. It's like literally almost a shot for shot from Way of Water. And I use that example because I think that's the most obvious one, but there's plenty of examples in this movie that just feel straight out of Way of Water. This movie feels like we're meandering a little bit. It feels like they're trying to really hone down the threat that we're really getting closer and closer to destroying, Jake Sully, or destroying the Navi people. They're really kind of closing in on us, but it still feels like we're meandering, where we're going out and playing in the water, or we're going to, learn how to fly, or learn how to use this, or blah blah blah. There's so much little meandering here and there, where this movie literally feels like you could have cut an hour out of the film and it would have been just the same. Nothing would have changed. The motives of everybody would have been exactly the same. The movie would have worked exactly the same if you cut a full hour. I truly believe this movie could have been 2 hours and 15 minutes, and it would have been way better, actually. It would have worked the same, and I felt like it would have been better, because there's just so much talking for no reason. There's so much things going on for no reason. It doesn't elevate the plot. It doesn't enhance the plot, or doesn't really move us forward anywhere. And I'm not sure where James Cameron is trying to end this, where he's trying to land this plane when the next couple of movies come out. But I hope he lands it, because if he does, it might bring me back to the franchise. But at the moment, I just find these movies very, very generic. not a lot of substance in it. It's a lot of just look at these visuals that I can make type of movie. And, there's not much more going on beyond that. I don't really care too much about any of the characters. I don't really care too much about the plot. I don't care too much about, the humans trying to conquer Pandora or the Navi people trying to defend their planet, because it's all the same to me. It all just feels like one and two, but now just rehashed with a little bit of fire in it. Because this whole movie is called Fire and Ash, and there's barely any fire in it. We're still in the water most of the time. So I don't know. I just don't know what he's trying to do with these films. I don't know if I just feel like I'm on an island here. I feel like a lot of people are starting to think this way too, where these movies are just kind of the same thing. Everybody that I've talked to that's watched the movie all think the same thing, that it just feels like the same exact movie, barely any substance, slight changes, but there's really not much going on. We get characters that we really just don't care about, and it's unfortunate because I want to love these movies, because these movies are great, like, spectacle, visually beautiful shot choices, action sequences, super awesome. But when you watch the movie, you're just there like, oh my God, can we get this going? Can we have the plot move forward? Can we learn something new, some new lore, some characters that just feel interesting? What is going on here? And by the end of it, you're just leaving going like the Odyssey trailer that played before this movie was the best part of this movie. And that's really how I felt. The whole thing was worth it because of that Odyssey trailer. So, it's unfortunate because I do want to like these movies, but I just don't get it. You guys let me know, what makes these movies so interesting to you guys, if you guys do like them. If you guys don't like them, let me know why you guys don't like them. But if you do like them, what is the reason why these movies feel so special or so impactful to you guys, beyond just the visuals, because the visuals, you can't deny those. But substance wise, the story, what about the story is really interesting? Because to me, I find no interest in it. I think the story is very boring. It meanders. It's really just a lot of, we're just playing around. We're kind of going around the bush, beating around the bush of this story. We're not getting to the central, plot point, the central reason why this is all happening. It just feels generic, unfortunately. But that is going to be it for this one, guys. Let me know what you guys think about Avatar Fire and Ash. Let me know what you guys think about the Avatar franchise as a whole. I'd definitely love to hear your guys' thoughts in the comment section down below. But again, if you guys like time with movie, TV show, video related, or just anything nerdy, you are in the right place. Make sure to that like and subscribe button. I'll see you guys on the next video. Thank you.